Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to our channel. I'm the Mythical Mom, also Brittany, if you're new here. And the other day on Instagram and Facebook, I put up a teaser picture of an area in our yard that's going to be changing pretty drastically. And I'm super excited about it, but I had to wait a couple weeks for a few things to get done before I could start showing you guys what we were doing, and I finally get to show you guys. So let me turn the camera around and show you what we're doing. So this is the area of our yard that we are developing, and we are creating a big raised bed garden. So the first step in this entire process was that this area that I'm standing in right now used to be a hill. There was like a big slant here, and it didn't seem that bad when you first stood on it, but as soon as you start trying to level out land, you realize how much of a slant it really is. And we had my dad come over and he dug out a good portion of it and started leveling the land for us. And then we also had Lakeside Landscaping, which is a local landscaping company to us here, come out and finish the leveling process and then also dig the holes for the fence posts that we're going to be putting up here shortly. So if you guys are in the immediate area, I would highly recommend them. They did a great job. They come out and make quick work of whatever mess I'm currently making. And so anyway, short plug for them. But now I want to tell you guys a little bit about the plan and the vision for this space and how we constructed our raised beds and things like that. I want to bring you guys along in every step of the process from here on out. That way you guys can see what we did, see if you like what we did, see how you would change things. But let me just turn the camera around here so I can show you a few more details. First of all, look at that view. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, I know it's mud and just wood right now, but the possibilities and the potential of this growing space just gets me so excited. So we have 6 raised beds here, and they are 4 by 8, so 4 feet wide and 8 feet long. And I did that on purpose so that I would not have any waste of wood. I bought 1 by 12s that were 8 feet long from a local sawmill. And I would highly recommend you guys, if you have a local sawmill near you, check them out first, because this is great. Our sawmill was absolutely wonderful. It was actually a lot cheaper than getting wood from a box store. So these are 1 by 12s by 8. I think I already said that. And then I just cut one 8-foot section in half to create the end cap. So obviously then you got a 4 by 8. There's no waste in wood, and I love that. I actually designed this space with the thought of using all the materials that I have and with the least amount of waste possible. So then we have 3-foot walkways in between each bed, which I think is big enough for me to comfortably work in and be able to get a wheelbarrow through here, but it's not like a lot of wasted space where where I won't be able to grow or plant things. I originally, when I first designed this space, I had 4-foot walkways, and I'm glad I went with the 3 because I think this is going to be perfect and it's not going to be just like wasted space in the garden. I wanted more planting space and less walking space. I wanted to get a little bit of a closer look of how we put these together. Some of these don't have the extra bracket in them yet, but we originally ordered these metal brackets. I think we ordered them from Lowe's, and I can link them down below if you guys would like to see what we have. But we originally ordered these, and these were all we were gonna use to put the beds together. But in doing some research and talking to some people, they suggested using a wooden stake type thing here in the corner like this. Now, because we already had these metal pieces and they were already put together, we decided just to kind of do both, which is probably totally overkill. But I'll tell you what, whenever you had just this metal piece, the beds were still a little bit flexible, and when you had just this piece, again, the beds were just a little bit flexible. So like I said, it's probably a little bit overkill. You probably don't need both. If you were going to build them yourself, I would say just do this piece and run your screws in this way on the outside, and then do this piece as well. But since we already had these pieces ordered in here, I figured we might as well just use them, and so we have extra support in our beds. Okay, so the next portion of this garden that I want to tell you guys about is the fence that we're going to be putting up. You see we have a bunch of holes dug around the outside of this garden, and the holes are every 8, oh, let me get out of the shadow. The holes are every 8 feet, and I purposely did that again because I have 8-foot boards that are going to go across the top of this fence. And then we also have what's called deer fencing that we are running all along the fence. So let me go down to the garage because I want to show you some of the products that we are using to build this fence. Okay, so here are the posts that we are going to be using for our fence, and they are just big round, they remind me of like cattle fencing posts, and they are 8 feet long, and they are going to be going 2 feet in the ground, so the height of the total fence will be 6 feet tall. And then this right here, see if I can get a good picture of it, garden fencing. It is from Garden Zone, 72 inches tall, which is 6 feet. And it is like reminds me of like a cattle panel. Like it's like that metal fencing, but then it's coated in a black coating, and that kind of makes it so it blends into the landscape a little better. It won't rust, things like that. So that's what we chose for that. And then on top of that, we are going to be putting these 1x4 boards that are 8 feet long. I hope that wasn't too confusing. I tried to explain it the best I could without actually showing you guys what we're doing. But I want to bring you guys along for the process. So if that was a little bit confusing, as we put the fence together, I hope then you guys will be able to see exactly what we are doing and how we're doing it and all that. So one more thing I wanted to walk you through was kind of the layout of the fencing. Okay, we are standing here in front of the garden, and I have a 4-foot walkway right here in the center, and that is where a giant trellis is going to go with some grapes that I have, and that is where we are going to be able to enter the garden. We are going to have a big gate on it as well. We have a lot of deer in our area, and they will come and eat everything if they can. So we have to really be careful with the deer, and that was one of the reasons that I wanted to make this space. Last year, deer had come through and decimated quite a few of my plants, and I documented that a little bit with you guys last year. But this year, I really wanted to ramp up my gardening and do a lot more plants. So in that, I wanted to make sure that my plants were going to survive and that something was not going to eat them. So that is why we are doing a 6-foot high fence. I'm also going to be planting things around the outside of the garden. I'm gonna have like a little flower bed space outside the garden for herbs and for flowers, and I plan on planting things like marigolds and garlic and onions around the outside to deter deer as well, because those types of plants deer don't like. So I'm hoping between the fence and between the plants that are around the outside that it'll just keep the deer away. I am really excited about this space, and I'm excited to bring you guys along on the journey of developing this space and getting it all ready for the year. My next project that I think I'm going to work on today is I want to get all of these raised beds filled up with soil. And soil is another topic that we could really discuss, and there's hundreds of different ways you could probably go about it. Personally, I got some sifted topsoil. So that's topsoil that's gone through some sort of sifting process that gets rid of any big rocks and things like that, and they make it nice and clean and soft and fluffy. And then also I have some compost going into it. I believe it's about 30% compost, and then the rest is the filter topsoil, although I'm not 100% sure because I wasn't there when they mixed it. But that's about what it should be, the ratio. And like I said, we also got our soil from Lakeside Landscaping, and he just took care of everything for me, and he really knows what he's doing, so I just trusted him on that. But that's going to be a project and a half, because let me show you the hill. So don't mind my garbage over there. I missed garbage day again. Anyway, so this whole area coming up here is a hill, and that's where my dirt is, right there. And so we're going to be bringing that up here and filling all of these, which I'm more excited about than anything. I know it's going to be a lot of work, but A, I need a good workout, and B, it gets me one step closer to putting some plants in this garden. And I'm so excited about that. I don't even know. I grew up, my background at my parents' house was row crops. And they had an absolutely huge garden growing up, and we did all kinds of things. Peas, beans, corn, potatoes, gosh, anything and everything. Onions, garlic, just all kinds of stuff. And that's really where I learned most of my gardening stuff from. And there are some wonderful benefits to row gardening, but there are also some drawbacks that I think I'm really excited about not having to deal with a raised bed garden, which is weeds. The soil is not going to be compacting because nobody's walking on it. It also helps control pests and things like that. Now, that doesn't mean you won't have any pests, but it definitely helps to lift your crops up off the ground and away from where pests might easily stumble upon them. Having a designated area with fencing and with pathways and, up off the ground just helps to deter some insects from really finding your crops, at least quickly. Some things obviously will still find them. Flying insects especially will find things, eventually. But I definitely think it's going to help a lot. I'm really excited about the less weeds, because if you've ever done row gardening, like, the weeds just come from everywhere and anywhere, and there's like no boundaries whatsoever to keep the weeds out, so it just comes in. And that's like a huge battle. I think that's one of the biggest things between watering and pulling weeds that I did not like about the garden growing up. I loved being able to have your own produce, and even sitting on the porch with mom and dad and picking peas and stringing green beans and all that kind of stuff, but I hated the weeding and the watering. So I think that's going to eliminate the weeds, at least a good portion of them, and I'm psyched about that. So let me get the camera set up here, and we're gonna start filling these beds today because I'm ready to go. It quits here today and not bore you guys with me just filling bed after bed after bed with soil. It's probably going to take me a couple of days, to be honest with you anyway. That hill is kicking my butt, but I almost have this bed full, a couple more loads, and I think this one will be done, and I think I'm going to call it quits for the day because it's a beautiful Saturday and we're going to go out and enjoy it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.